Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Rick Ramirez. I'm also known as Rick's 2 Cents. Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live with Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Hey, y'all.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds.
What's up?
And Roger from Roger Shop. Looks like we have quite a bit of people already in the live. Thank you. Andy, right before we're on live, you were showing something. Do you want to kind of share what you were doing? I kind of rudely interrupted you because we're about to go live.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, so Steve was asking what all these were back here, and it's one of the products that we make. This is a flower design. These are assembled, but the bottom snaps on as well, and different. They're battery operated LED lights, so they light up. They're lanterns. Everything's backwards with the camera.
Yeah.
Is this your first day on the job?
Yeah,
my first day on the job. I'm like,
with the coin. Every time I'm doing that with the coin, I'm like, what?
Yeah. So this is just our flower design. But yeah,
that's a staple item in your shop, correct?
Yeah.
Nice one.
Yep. That's kind of what it all started. Our leaf lantern we sold more of that than anything, and we've been selling that for like 4 years.
Nice.
And then just slowly working on different designs, and yeah.
So do you guys have daughters?
No.
It's National Daughters Day.
Don't let the gray hair fool you. No girls.
I have a daughter, so I said happy Daughter's Day to her today. So if anyone's a father and has a daughter, you haven't told her, you just got reminded. I do that with my friends on Sweeties Day. I'm like, hey, bro, you know today's Sweeties Day? Oh, shit, for real? Even though Sweeties Day is a man holiday, Valentine's Day is supposed to be the women. Sweeties Day is supposed to be for men.
I've never even heard of Sweeties Day.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. It's supposed to be the man Valentine's Day, right?
Oh, well, off camera, I'll tell you what that's referred to.
Hallmark probably made that holiday up. Clayton said, everyone smash that like button. Very cool. So my Atura Laser H10 will be arriving tomorrow. Thank you, Roger, Steve, everyone at ShopTalk Live. Great for a great, awesome giveaway.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I wonder, it obviously arrives in Hawaii on an airplane, not a boat.
Says, hey guys, I can't stay today. I have to take my wife to physical therapy. See if you're still online. I'll check back in and say hello. Thanks for just stopping in, Steve. Hope your wife is healing up.
Yeah.
Dad to a 4-year-old daughter sitting with me watching this. Nice one.
I wonder if she's excited to watch this.
I was going to say I don't have any jack-o'-lanterns with me. I was going to show it so she could see it.
I meant to bring one in. I have one sitting on my shelf in the shop. I did a video a while back and make these little, they're only about 4 inches, a 4-inch cube. And they just hold a tea light.
Yeah, that's all I use. The only thing is on the inside of mine, I painted them with a white gloss first.
Yeah.
And then I painted on top of them a yellow. And now that little cheapy 26-cent Amazon light is actually super bright. It's like, you know,
all that light energy isn't getting absorbed into the Baltic birch.
Right, exactly. Because it was looking like kind of like shadowish, not so bright. But yeah. So I've been obviously digging through our lives. And one thing I kind of noticed is that there hasn't been a lot of hot topics on Mr. Rogers 3D printers. So I wanted to kind of bring that to light and say that even if you're not necessarily thinking of purchasing a 3D printer or to make anything, the convenience of actually having one, because just with lasers or CNCs for jigs, right? To be able the idea to just make a custom jig is really definitely an advantage. And just starting out, it's hard to compete with someone like Roger who has 19, 3D printers. When you're there for 6 hours, like, you only
need one. I'm
thinking if you're trying to sell
one and a really big cup of coffee.
If you're trying to sell it, most people who are in the business to sell, they don't have one. But
a
even having
3D printer is not enough though, right? You really have to get into design. So that I can show you. So these things are things I make. I actually have a piece of EMT. All the electricians will know what that is. And I have a frame back here that holds my camera and some lights and stuff. This is the thing I clamp it. It's screwed into the desk. So I had to make a new one because I added another post. But that's the kind of thing you can do. You don't have to go and try and find that thing on Amazon. You can just make your own. Now it took 6 hours to print it, but
speaking of Amazon, I think Andy was going to do one of those $99 laser giveaways, right, Andy?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, I had to go snooping and find
I
that
saw you
video.
comment
We
on
talked
that.
about it. And I commented, I found it.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, the comment that's up right now, I did put a reminder on one of my videos. Even though you have a class 1 laser, if you're going to sit there and stare at that beam, put some protective eyewear on, because if you sit there and stare at that for a while and you look away and blink your eyes, you'll see that beam. That's damaging your eyes.
Yeah, and one thing too is like, my son's like a little shadow, right? So it's even worse for them because they're at a different angle. They're kind of like looking up to it. So if you're above it and looking down, maybe you have a lot less likelihood of it damaging your eyes versus a little kid looking down, shorter than looking up.
Quite often, even on a so-called class 1 laser, you'll see a bit of light escape through where the door meets the frame.
Yep.
The Creality F1, is that what it's called? Falcon 2 Pro. Sorry, there's too many models. I noticed that on mine. There was just a little bit of a gap there, and you get this little reflective flash of blue light every now and again. It's a little disturbing for something that claims to be a class 1 laser.
So for a laser noob, can you explain the different classes of lasers?
Yeah, the class 4 laser is the most common. They're just wide open and everything you see. And I'm going to flip over here. This is a class 1. It's totally enclosed. If you open that lid, it'll shut off right now. And and it's shielded, but still there again, if you're going to be staring at that beam I probably shouldn't be showing that. The video is not supposed to release till the 27th. But anyway, here's a sneak preview. Here's a sneak preview.
Behind the scenes shot.
Yeah. So this is what they call a class 1. It's completely enclosed. And if you open the lid or anything, the laser will shut off. On class 4, it's just everything is just wide open. And you can, you watch the head go back and forth and etc.
Right.
Yeah, so there's 4 levels, and basically class 4 is like it's trying to kill you, and class 1 is it's trying to actually not kill you, and 2 and 3 in between are varying degrees of that.
I think the big difference is that if you open the lid, it shuts off, right? But regardless, if it's enclosed or not, you should have safety.
Right.
Safety glasses.
Yeah, if you are staring at it for a long time.
Right.
Gotcha. So 1 is just, I guess, has more
open frame.
Class 1 is more like built-in safety features.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah. The basic goal is there's no way for the beam to escape the box.
See the open frame? There's no protection.
Yeah.
But then you'll do something like this and put an enclosure, but it's still open frame.
Like here's an open frame class 4 cutting right there. So there's nothing there to shield that blue light. I mean, you can see it flashing around on there.
Yep.
Yeah, I had to break another laser manufacturer's heart this week because I just don't review open frame lasers anymore.
I've always seen I've seen those classes on there, and I just never. Yeah, it just, when you guys were talking about it, it never struck me of like what actually is the difference between them.
Yeah.
So,
now the one thing you do have to be careful about, to get class 1, there's an actual certification that has to happen, and it's in the US. It's recognized by, I don't know, Department of Standards and Measures, whatever they call it down there. But you'll see a lot of Chinese laser companies well, laser companies in general, we won't pick on just the Chinese, but they built almost all of them. They say it's class 1 because they've self-certified. And probably sometimes that's okay. But, you don't trust, you don't trust the person who made the laser to say, yeah, it's safe, right? You want someone else to say, yeah,
Right.
we certify that this is safe.
It's
So
self-OSHA
for
certified.
a lot of them, when they say it's a class 1 laser and you say, okay, send me a copy of the certificate, they won't have it.
Gotcha.
The only thing that I would say is that the ones that come with the enclosure, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's very limited of anyone I've ever seen that have an extended rail. So whenever they're enclosed, they're small.
Yeah,
They're not a big workspace. So to me, like personally, I don't care. I don't care if I would rather not it be enclosed, because I'd rather have the bigger workspace and I'll enclose it myself if that's really a concern.
Well,
I'd rather have a bigger workspace.
If you just want a laser with a big workspace, you buy that big blue and white box behind Andy.
There you go.
Right. I don't know what's the work area on that one.
That's the Thunder Nova 35. So 35 wide.
That's their like flagship
and
laser.
24 deep.
I think 24. Yeah, 24.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same footprint that mine's 36 by 24.
Someone says lasers have different glasses. CO2 and fiber use different. Few require different, basically different safety glasses depending.
Yeah, they have different wavelengths. Cloud Ray does make a somewhat universal one. The goggles that I wear, but they are not cheap.
So if anyone has ever seen the Back to the Future movie when he's coming out with this big scoop, that's what Roger looks like when he's working on the laser.
Like a welder's mask.
Daniel's son. Roger, what are you making? Coasters.
Oh boy.
I've had quite a few comments, hey, you look like some kind of alien that just landed on the planet wearing those. I don't care. They protect my eyes. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
So,
You can be an alien who can see, or you can be a human who doesn't. Right?
When you did the review, I had to poke fun at you. I did. I admit, I did.
Well, I've had lots of comments on that.
Yeah, and for people who don't think it can happen, I testify that I have an actual burn mark in the back of my left eye from industrial lasers from the mid 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it went undetected actually for about 2 years before, or about a year before. You play, when you go to the optometrist and they put your face in that thing that looks like a half of a hemisphere, and you click every time you see the red lights in the periphery. There was a notable spot where I had nothing, where I should have had something, and the optometrist looked at it and went, well, that's interesting. Shines the light. A bit of scar back there.
Wow.
I recently watched this YouTuber do a review on a laser. He said in his video, and I would have never admitted this, during the review, they had a light above it, and the light hit him in the eye, and he didn't finish the review for like weeks later because he had to have his eye heal because he couldn't see. And even a couple weeks later, he had blurred vision in his right eye, and then he showed like the scan of his eye, like this huge gash across his eyeball, and I was like,
yeah,
I wouldn't have told anybody that. I would have took that to my grave.
Yeah. I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's it,
Well, you do have to admit your mistakes.
Yeah.
This was a CO2 burn.
Oh wow.
That wasn't even the focus part of the beam. That was the fat piece. I reached through the beam path.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid to admit it. It was stupid.
The Chinese do that laser branding. I've seen that on YouTube. That's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Steve, don't feel bad. I stuck my fingers in a table saw blade, so.
Was it a saw stop at least?
No, it wasn't.
Did you lose the finger?
Can you still count to 10?
No. I still got them.
Nice.
It's one of the reasons when I'm using a table saw, I don't bring the blade up much beyond the surface of the material, because you figure if you touch the blade, it's not going to cut your finger off. You may get a good cut, but you're not going to lose a finger.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Me too.
Yeah.
Dave,
And that's actually what saved. That's why I still have my fingers. Because if I would have cranked it all the way up,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think people don't understand too is when you crank it all the way up, like you're not hitting the blade the same. There's actually a reason you'd want to be there because it's hitting it in that carbine part, right? You don't want to hit it in the arch. You actually want to hit it in the sharp part of that blade.
Like at the tooth. Yeah.
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 David said, I'm going to give my laser to my grandkids, but I don't want to give them anything that's going to ruin their vision. Well, no matter what kind of laser it is, they're going to have to wear safety goggles. So you can't get around it.
I gave one of my grandsons a Adam Stack P9, and I gave him the glasses with it, and really instructed him on don't ever use it without the glasses on. And he's been pretty good with it, and he's made some interesting things for his Boy Scout troop with it.
Nice.
Did you show this message, Rick? I didn't see this one.
Your background is scary, Steve.
Yeah, I one of these days I'll tell some stories, but there's a few things that I have done in my past that are still top secret. So
I think we all have some of those. I've got quite a few of those too.
So if we see your picture in the post office, we know what happened.
Well,
didn't turn out so well.
It's just it's a side effect of having worked in some of the places I work. That's all.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure I'll die of cancer. For sure. Radiation poisoning.
Yeah, well, I spent a bit of time standing on top of some reactors, and
yeah, they made us take all those safety training classes, right? And the only reason they do that is because you're considered a competent person, so you can't sue them.
Yeah.
Then they ask you, what's radiation poisoning? A metallic copper taste in your mouth, headaches, cotton mouth, dry mouth, bad breath, and we're like, oh, dude, we got all these symptoms. We're gonna die.
Glow in the dark. And
yeah. You saw The Simpsons, right? There you
go. My big thing was, back when I started in the trade, nobody ever talked about arc flash. And probably the last 20 years I was in the trade, then it became a big safety thing. Rick knows what I'm talking about, arc flash. It's something that can happen in an instant, and no, you can't get away from it. And I've seen a couple instances of arc flash. Fortunately, I've never been involved with it, but it was something that was just really never talked about, early on. And then it became a big thing once OSHA got a hold of it because people were getting killed.
That's why I used to not like working with women, and they would get pissed. And I'm like, look, man, if I go down the manhole, you can't pick me up. So I'm screwed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm screwed. You just call 911. Yeah, he's screaming.
You haven't lived until you're sitting in a Faraday cage running a 1-joule laser, and it decides to arc to the cage.
Yeah.
And you get this cool lightning effect rolling all around you.
Tesla. So I've seen the original Tesla, like the big giant.
Yeah.
I can't say where it's at, but it's in the Chicagoland area, and it's inside of a building.
Oh yeah, I still have it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty cool. I actually got to see it twice. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I appreciate everyone dropping in. We got 40 people currently in the live. If you guys have any questions, let us know. That's what we're here to do. And I want to thank Steve for starting a negotiation with Nano for a Nano laser. So as it turns out, they're willing to allow us to do a free giveaway of another laser. Steve, since you started that participation, do you want to kind of give a background on what that laser is? Or
well, I don't know yet. It may be just a basic Nano 12 watt. I have lobbied for basically the same setup they sent me. I assume Roger got the same one.
Yeah.
Which also had the rotary and the slide. They did kind of balk at the price a bit, but we'll see. I mean, hey, a free laser is a free laser when it comes right down to it, right? And Nano, for anyone who's listening, Nano, whether the Nano is the laser for you, Longer makes decent lasers and they got decent support, and the company's really easy to work with. So I kind of, it's as far as companies that are easy to get along with, Acmer and Longer are probably my two favorites.
So I did get the Longer V1, the 40 watt. And when I got it, that's when I was having some issues with it. But I was right in the middle of spring. I own a farm. We're busy as hell. And I got a ton of orders, and I don't have time to mess with it. So I kind of shelved it. And then I circled back and said, hey, Longer, I have these problems. I didn't have time to troubleshoot these issues, but this is how I was able to resolve some of them, and these are the ones I'm still having. Do you have a resolution for them? Man, not only did they give me a resolution, G code, all kinds of stuff, but even sent me, and I haven't watched it yet because it was like 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday. But they even sent me tutorial videos of them actually doing it and showing me like re-replicating my problem and then fixing it. So I was like, man, that's that's awesome. Like that, you know what I mean? So so I will be releasing that longer B1. The one thing I could say definitely is that like my go-to laser as far as diode was the Tesla V35. It's just a tank, right? And like, you know, I cutting through cedar picket fences, which I do a lot of, lanterns like Andy does, but my lanterns are a lot thicker. The V35 would cut through it, you know, but between a 40 watt and a 30 watt, the 40 watt would cut through it in one pass. So I was like, so 5 passes on a 4 to 5 passes on a and really that depends how wet the wood is, right? If the wood's drier, it's gonna be different. So I would say at least 4 passes, and on the 40 was 1, and I was like, so 2 passes. I know it's not real wet, but that's a huge difference when you're talking making 200 lanterns, right?
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Hey, Roger, have you tried to do do you ever do offset fill in Lightburn?
I asked him about that.
I do it quite a bit.
Have you done offset fill on the B1?
Yeah.
And it works?
Yeah, I haven't had any problem with it at all.
Maybe they did a firmware update or something.
Roger, because I saw in your video you said that it was acting goofy and it was making weird lines or something.
Yeah, I've seen it like I saw it with text. If you're doing offset fill in text, where there's lots of little corners to get into, man, it messed up big time.
Well, I generally only use offset fill when there's like long lines.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think there's a sensible use case for it, and one that's not so sensible. But the temptation to use it is because it's faster, right?
Yes, much faster.
Yeah. But what I noticed when I was doing letters, it just did something really strange.
So anyone in the live, if you wouldn't mind, put in the comments below where you're actually joining us from. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. To see where you guys are.
I haven't been clicking on comments, Rick. So
I
don't know where we are in the comment.
We're caught up.
Did you post Dennis's comment he just put here?
So we are here. Hello from West Virginia. Hello, West Virginia. I got some family stationed out there. Wow, longer nano. Clayton's already claiming
Clayton, you're only entitled to one lifetime of free laser.
Clayton's like, hey,
too soon.
I'm getting that. I love longer. They have good customer service.
Yeah,
I've been spreading the word about your channel and Shop Talk Live. I like all of your guests. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Hawaii. Oh, Chicago. Rob's from Chicago. What's up? Jeez. Roger and I are Chicago boys as well.
Maybe you know him.
Rob Rocco. Well, I don't know. It doesn't ring a bell. From the greatest state of Texas. Everything's big in Texas. Watching from Georgia.
Waiting for the hurricane.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's supposed to clear up in Georgia.
Yeah, and I saw, since I just booked that trip to Mexico, since Roger keeps rubbing it in all the time. Like, man, there's a hurricane going there too. So hopefully everything looks okay and doesn't ruin my trip later.
Well, it did brush Cancun, but it missed Playa del Carmen.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. What is the tool that you currently have in your shop that was on a wish list? It doesn't necessarily mean something that was expensive, but just something that you wanted. And when you finally got it, you like almost kick yourself in the ass. Like, why didn't I get this so much sooner? What made a drastic improvement? Everyone's happy to answer that. It came all at once. So
mine's my joiner. I bought a Grizzly joiner, which was kind of a basket case from a guy actually out by Chicago. I drive up and get it. And I did a complete rebuild on it. And I'm like, why didn't I have this like 20 years ago? It's such a time saver. And when I'm doing glue-ups,
it's definitely one of those things you don't use often, but when you use it, there's just no other tool that can do what it does, right?
Yep.
So for me, since this is such a timely thing, because about 3 years ago, I bought a Craig pocket tool,
Nice.
And it sat in a box, still with the tape, like it was still sealed. And 2 days ago, while I was building the cabinets in my workshop as part of my upgrade, I thought, wait a minute, I have a pocket tool somewhere, and I went and got it, and it's like, this is the best tool ever.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean,
love
it was cheap, right? It was definitely cheap.
Some people think you're cheating when you're using them, but hey, whatever works. And they work
I
great.
don't think so.
I love them.
Yeah, I know some people that build some beautiful stuff with pocket holes. So
yeah, I'm building probably the nicest, well, as part of this, probably the nicest desk of any workshop. Like this thing is going to have two stacks of drawers. And...
Nice. Are you sending it down here to Kentucky?
No.
I would say for me,
I can send you the plans though.
I don't want to build it.
It's easy.
I know it's Andy Bird Builds, but I don't want to build it. For me, I know this sounds weird, but we were just talking about this. Honestly, it was my saw stop table saw. It was on my list for a long time, and I actually bought other tools ahead of it. I started out with like a rigid Home Depot table saw, job site saw, and that's what I ended up cutting my fingers on. And I tell everybody, like, okay, like some people hate saw stop, love it or hate it, but when you have an accident like that, like it's a lot cheaper to buy a saw stop before you have an accident.
Oh, sure.
Instead of after, like I did.
Yeah, it's going to be an acquisition for me next year in 2025.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to a saw stop rep about a week and a half ago.
Nice.
And he summed it up quite nicely. It costs more to start, but you'd pay $20,000 for it after you cut your finger off.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I was one of those people where, you know, I felt comfortable. I had been using it, you know, for years. I wasn't new, and I was cutting face frames for my son's nursery. We built out a closet build out, and I used plywood, and then I not like face frames, I guess, almost like face trim, right? Like covering up the plywood edge. And it was just repetitive cuts, cutting, you know, quarter inch, taking a 6-inch board and just cutting, you know, quarter or half inch, I forgot widths. And just, you know, that repetitive, like the same thing over and over again. And I reached for an offcut. Yep. And literally just stuck my hand right in the blade. Got it on camera too. It's on YouTube if you want to go see it.
No, it's okay.
Nice one.
Yeah,
Well, she said, I'm just here for the laser giveaway.
I'm always super paranoid when I use my table saw. I figure if I can be terrified using it, then I'll pay more attention.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah. With me too, like I had ear protection on, I had eye protection on. I was using a push block, and it was my offhand, and it was just that complacency. Like, I mean, no one, maybe they do, but no one consciously decides to stick their hand in a blade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it was like a slow motion. You seen it like, fuck, why'd I do that? Right?
Yeah,
You
it's always an accident.
Did it after the fact.
Yep.
So to me, mine was I built the table, the full size of the full sheet of plywood, so that I can cut on a table saw a full sheet of plywood by myself, pushing it forward. But because it's a DeWalt standard, you know, table saw, and it's small, and it, you know, so building that table saw was just like, oh. But now with doing all these jack-o'-lanterns, I'm doing so much sanding, and I'm like, you know what, man? When I make this money from when I'm finally done my last jack-o'-lantern, I'm gonna go buy a drum. I saw somebody actually put it in here. That was one of theirs too.
Drum sander, yeah.
A drum sander. They're not that expensive, and I'm like, as much sanding as I do, I don't know why I don't own one of these.
Yeah, I have a 19-inch drum sander. Well, my recommendation is, if you get a drum sander, the model number is 1938, which means you can sand half of a board, turn it around and sand the other half, and it doesn't leave like a big lump or anything. Make sure you get one of those, because then you can do big stuff, right?
I don't get what you mean by that.
It's open on one
like
end.
a drum sander's open on one end usually, right? Unless you get a big one, which is enclosed.
Okay, okay.
If it's open on one end, then you can turn the board around and sand the other side, just turn it, like not flip it over, just turn it around end for end.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then you can sand the other half of the board.
Okay.
Get one of those. It's another one of these things, you won't use it often, but when you got a 25-inch piece of wood that you want to sand, think chessboards or something.
Right.
They just don't fit in a typical drum sander. So
okay, so the side's open. The side's open. The part that's not being sanded, so it's run off the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the motor's on one end and the other end is open.
Okay. I got
They're a little hard. Those ones are a little harder to get true, like to make sure that the inside of the motor end and the open end are the same thickness. But you get them set up right, and then they work perfectly, and then you get this extra capability.
The only thing that's a pain is changing the sandpaper on them.
Really? I don't. It takes me like 10 seconds.
You get it nice and tight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I always struggle with it. I don't know if my fingers just don't work, but I always have a hard time with that spring-loaded, like holding that spring-loaded end.
And sliding it
in and holding it tight at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a skill there.
Third down there.
It's a skill you can grow. See, I'm changing all the time, right? Because I'll start with 80, then I'll go to like 120 and 220, and then I'll eventually get to a palm sander. But it doesn't take me long to change them.
Alex said he follows 3 out of 4 of us. We're all here together. Wow. He's excited about that one.
Wait a minute. Who doesn't he follow?
All right, Andy. Now you need to spill your beans.
What's that?
He only follows 3 of the 4 of us.
Said 3 out of 4 of you guys. Now you need to spill your beans. Andy, you say Jay Bates video where he gets some serious kickback from my bandsaw. Crazy. I didn't think it was possible.
I didn't watch that video, but I did see he had an accident. Yeah, or not necessarily. I don't know if it's an accident, but something.
An event.
What's that?
Call that an event.
An event. There you go.
Yeah, I have those here once in a while.
I know Daniel.
A bandsaw is next. A bandsaw is next on my list, and I have the same kind of dread with that I do with a table saw. Only because when you see butchers cutting meat with basically a bandsaw, you go, "Yeah, I don't want my fingers anywhere near that thing." I certainly don't want to hear that sound when I'm in my workshop.
Yeah, Daniel, I think after a second or third live, he started getting all of a sudden sponsor opportunities, and that was one of his first things he grabbed was the band. But I've never even seen a video on it. So I don't know how that worked out.
Well, see, I mean, it depends on the vendor, right? Some of them just want their stuff to be seen, right, in a video, and I mean, unless you have a huge shop, you can't show everything, right? So
I had a router grab my piece of wood and tear a hole through my thumb.
This has become like we should have saved this show for Halloween.
You got to start it with the background there. Steve has all the tools, so he can make one of everything.
I don't have a bandsaw. I didn't go out and buy a truckload of tools, though. Understand that, right? You have a job to do. You buy the tool that you need, and then the next job you buy a different tool if you can afford it. But it's you have to grow these things organically because it will cost you a fortune.
A couple extra bucks to go bigger.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah. So I looked at that same saw, the same drum sander, 1632, and I thought, no, there's a 1938. I should buy that one. Takes a little longer to put the sandpaper on because it's that much bigger. But
So the second number is the full length, and the first number is the sandable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Per pass length. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can see it definitely.
With drum sanders, something to keep in mind too. It doesn't replace, like, you don't get to skip orbital sanding.
Right.
It just drastically reduces the amount.
Yeah. The thing I've noticed is, even like if you take, like, if you go down to 220 grit paper on a drum sander, you're still probably going to go back to 120 to start with a palm sander or something to get all the grit lines out of it. But it does ensure is the thing is pretty flat, right? Like, with a drum set or with a palm sander, you can get all kinds of like flat spots and dips, and which is important if you want to make a chessboard, right? And chessboards have to be flat.
I know I probably hear a lot of flack, but as much as sanding as I did, I never wear a mask. Never, right? And I know I should. And I finally bought a mask. I actually bought a mask because my son complained. And I'm like, so I bought us both masks. And after I was sanding for like 8 hours, I was like, damn, why didn't I buy this mask?
You can still breathe.
Because I was just like, I took it off. And I was breathing perfect, right? When I took it off, I was like, holy shit, it's like dust. Like, I could feel it when I was breathing. I wasn't even standing anymore.
What kind of mask did you get? Did you get like a full face Darth Vader?
I didn't do the Darth Vader, Roger, let's go overboard with this one, but
yeah. I have a couple, but I have a little Eclipse mask, which is, it's small.
A 3M mask.
Yeah, those work.
Yeah, that's about the size of mine, probably. Well, that one's probably a little bigger, actually.
The reason I liked it is because I wear glasses. So anytime I kept wearing these masks, they would like fog up my glasses from like this. They create like this,
Yeah.
Well, that's way bigger than mine. That's like a Darth Vader mask. Those are good. Like they're like 99% filtering, right? Like they're
but it wasn't hard to breathe. I wasn't felt like I could, I could feel, and man, I felt like nothing. And I was like, you take a shower and you're like blowing your nose out and it's like all black, big chunks. You're like, it's all black, but
it's just
I don't know, $30. It was something. It was, I don't know. I can't even remember what it was.
I've taken in the summertime. I've taken to sanding outside. Just if it's something small, I'll just grab my portable workbench and wheel it outside and do things right outside my garage door.
Yeah. There's green cutting boards tolerable. No more hoping it'll make it through the plain finger cross. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing there. Is if you try to run end grain through a planer, and you're just praying that you don't have chunks flying everywhere.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The one thing about a planer is I wanted one for so long. When I finally got one, I had no idea they'd be so loud. And I only use my planer in my garage outside.
Well, like the planer itself isn't too bad. It's when you put a piece of wood in it that it gets loud.
Yeah. Like I've been around heavy machinery my whole life, right? You know what I mean? My ears are like hurting. I need ear protection. Like, holy shit, that thing is loud.
Yeah,
like that thing is loud. My neighbor came out like, what are you doing?
Yeah, my CNC is the same way. If you have a spindles are really quiet, right? But the second you touch a 1/4-inch end mill to any piece of wood, forget it. It's loud.
Yeah.
So the big thing everyone's saying, router versus spindle. Obviously, besides the overheating of the bushings, is it that drastic of a difference of sound?
The spindle itself is
the
really,
router.
really quiet. But
that
again,
drastic, like night and day difference.
Well, it's noticeable. Yeah, for sure. Like not noticeable is kind of underselling it. Like my spindle when it's running is almost silent.
Yeah, it's like a hum.
Yeah, it's just like a little whir.
Yep.
But the second you put it on a piece of wood, it's the tool bit that makes the noise, right?
Yeah.
When it hits.
When you're actually using it on wood, is it that drastic of a difference in quietness versus a router? Or no?
Yeah. Well, no, probably. Once you're actually working on a piece of wood, you couldn't listen to the sound and go, "Oh, that's a router versus a spindle."
Okay. They're both loud as hell.
Yeah, the spindle itself is like those little trim routers that they use for spindles in entry level CO or CNCs. Those things are loud anyway, and it's all high frequency stuff too, so it's really hard on your ears.
Yeah, and it, you know, especially if you did what I did when I first got a CNC, like I didn't have any experience, I turned those RPMs all the way up. I don't know what, you know, setting 6 on a trim router, whatever it is.
It's probably like 25,000 RPM.
I think it might be more. But yeah, it's
no,
up
yeah,
there.
I think the top speed on those like those Makita trim routers is like 32,000 or something.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to have that's a good way to have a tool bit fly out at you.
Yeah.
Or a piece of a tool bit.
But the thing is like you feel like if you're rotating faster and your inches per minute is slower, that's better. You know, you're getting a better cut. But that's actually not true.
It's just
especially if it's cherry.
That's a good way to start a fire.
So explain the correct way to do that. What's the right method to the madness of doing that?
Well, so how do we? So you want to the best way to do it, like you could go the whole like calculating chip load and all that crazy stuff, but for entry level hobby CNCers, like you want to be creating chips, like actual like wood chips, and not like super fine dust.
Okay.
And that's really the way to tell is visually. Like you should. So a lot of people don't know this, but the actual wood chip that you cut or the material that you're cutting acts as a heat sink and actually moves heat away from that bit if you can get those chips up out of there. That's why dust collection or something's so important. But heat is the number one enemy to bits. And
is that because it's ruining the bit or that's bad on the material or both?
Both. Yeah, but if we're talking about bits, like quality of cut, you can get a quote unquote quality cut with poor, like not optimal speeds. And it'll be harder on the bit. The bit won't last as long. It'll dull faster. Maybe not quality results, but acceptable results.
The other thing to do is to pay attention to the specs for the bit too, right? Because if you have maybe a flattening bit, you shouldn't be turning that thing at 20,000 RPM.
No, you shouldn't.
The little blades that are somehow magically stuck to the bit may decide to fly off. Yeah, especially if it gets hot.
Yeah, the larger the diameter of bit, the slower the RPM should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same old true with a router too. For those that are playing with routers, larger the bit, the less RPM you want to use. Yeah, I wouldn't be cranking that at 20,000.
You're probably going to go pretty slow with that thing.
Yeah.
Look at it says.
White side. Ooh, 24,000. Oh no. So what's the diameter of that? What's the cutting diameter?
It says
2 inches.
Yeah, two and a quarter to 3.5.
So what's the recommended?
12,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it drops pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, but then if it was a 3/4, it says up to 24,000.
It's a half inch shank too, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So the beauty of a half inch shank is it's stronger than pretty much any piece of wood you're going to put it on.
Yep.
So if you just want to brute force something, use a half inch bit. if you have a spindle that can hold it.
So what I use that for, and I wasn't pushing anything heavy. I was telling you guys I replicated some old John Adams casing, from 1865. So rather than buy a Cove bit, I just took 3 separate router bits and put it on the table and then put it all together and I made it. So that was for like just a straight pass to come down. But yeah.
The scariest bit I've ever used was on a router table, and it was a 1/2 inch flush trim bit. I just cannot. I don't know. I don't. It just terrifies me.
We never answered this question.
Which one?
Oh, the D1's a good laser, and if everything else works on it, just upgrade the module. I've got 2 Exel D1s.
Yeah.
And they're good machines.
So I would say this is my opinion. We always say if you have one, you have none. And if that's your only laser and you can afford to buy another one, depending on how much cost savings, then weigh that out.
Yeah, the thing to consider is replacing the laser module in something like a D1 Pro. You're basically paying 80% of the cost of the laser just to put a new module in it.
Well, that is true in some cases.
And maybe you just want to buy another laser, right?
Right. Well, figure that out.
Like sometimes what I've recommended to people is sell that one and buy a new, just buy a completely new one. Even if you buy another D1 Pro, it's probably going to be a better deal. And then you can take the money you made from this one and chuck it in there, and it probably ends up cheaper than the laser module.
Right. Plus everything else is brand new, and you've been putting hours on that other one.
Yeah, well, there's always the wear and tear thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anybody gets really emotionally attached to a particular laser, but you know, at the end of the day, especially if it's an open frame laser, it's a bunch of extrusion with a laser module and a couple of stepper motors, and you might as well just buy a whole new one if you can budget for it.
Yeah,
because it's probably going to end up cheaper in the long run. Sell this one.
That's why I said just check the cost. You know, but at the end of the day, if it's what you can afford or you cannot, then you got to do what you got to do. Then nobody's, you know,
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to. Like, hey, I can't afford to. But then also, there's also a thing that's like sometimes it's worth waiting. So just weigh out don't make a knee-jerk reaction. Make sure you actually see the difference in the price before you make that.
Certainly going from a 10-watt laser to anything else is going to be an upgrade, right?
Yep.
If you're going to like a 20 or a 30 or even a 40, but yeah, you're going to see remarkable results no matter what, but I think just buying a laser module is going to be pretty expensive compared to just buying a whole new laser and selling that one.
Willow Tree said, stick around. These boys give away free lasers all the time. So, yeah, we got another one coming up for sure. Another one coming up. Hey, did you hear anything back from Momport?
Yeah, they got all pissy with me.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so they offered me 100 to 150 watt CO2, and then 100 watt. I'm sorry, yeah, 100 or 150 watt CO2, and then 100 watt MOPA fiber. And then they're like, "Well, what about doing a 30?" I'm like, "Come on."
Yeah, that's exactly what they did with me, and I said, "No, sorry."
Yep. So,
like people have specifically, and I mean, you see it here in the comments too, right? People have been specifically asking me to talk to vendors to get higher powered fiber lasers.
Yep.
Because they have businesses. Like, I don't know about your channels, but I'd say probably easily 50% of the people who watch my channel have a business. It could be a side hustle, but they have some kind of, revenue model built on top of a laser, right? And some of them want to go bigger, because a 20-watt fiber laser is great to get started, but now they want to go faster, right? So now they want to do bigger, better things. So now they want bigger fiber lasers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. To me, fibers is 30, 60, 90. There's fashions in between, but those are like your go-to. There's rhyme and rhythms to that,
Yeah, well, there's still quite a bit of a price jump between a 20 and a 30 for marginal gain.
Yeah,
right?
no,
So,
yeah, 100%.
So lots of people will start with a 20 just because they're relatively cheap. And again, relative. I'll stress that.
But I would say that instead of a 20, if you're time between a 20 and a 30, then don't get a MOPA.
No.
And you could get personally, because everyone's like, I gotta have the MOPA. That's cool. I'm not saying it's not, right?
Yeah.
But if it's literally you're like down to that, you may not use the MOPA features. So
yeah. Well, really, the MOPA feature is color, right? So
right.
Like,
so I can get
it's
a
not
20
even.
watt
It's
fiber
better than say a diode laser, but it's not even predictable color. So
right.
you know, so I don't know. I like MOPAs are nice, and I've certainly had lots of people ask me about them. But
what do y'all think of the Algo
laser?
Algo laser.
Maybe the MK3, and I have one, and they have offered me to review their new MK3 22 watt with the touchscreen. I'm not sure what the touchscreen does yet, but
yeah, they've been badgering me as well, and well, badgering is probably a negative word, but they've been asking me if I wanted to review that one. And I love the Algo laser, but again, it's open frame, and I really don't want to promote that hazard, right? Like, you know, last thing I want is somebody to say, "Oh, you convinced me to buy a laser, and now I'm blind." Right? I don't want that.
Yeah. Listen, how do I maintain a laser? I would say, what type of laser?
Well, even in the case of diode lasers, I think one of the biggest things is keeping the lens clean.
I'm on disability.
So many viewers run into problems. Oh, this was cutting great, now it don't. Have you clean your lens? Oh, you got to do that? Yeah.
You know, I have been guilty of, and you said it the other day, Roger. I was cleaning my honeycomb, and I'm like, man, I should probably do that. Mine looks like a permanent imprint of these jack-o'-lanterns right now.
The honeycomb in my CO2 laser doesn't get a lot of love.
I'm on disability.
It's basically black from corner to corner now.
Yeah.
I took all mine out pressure washing last week.
Yeah, I'm on disability. My 10-watt module went out. I'm about to put a better brand 10-watt laser module, and I love the one I went to. I'm surprised, to be honest, that I'm surprised you won from a 10 and stayed at a 10. You didn't go to a 20. What made you stay at a 10?
It's a budget thing, right?
That's what I'm asking. Is that what it was?
Yeah, like I don't know what you're looking at for a replacement. The laser tree makes a whole line of replacement laser modules for virtually every laser.
Andy, you got a message.
Oh boy.
I think Kentucky is supposed to say, Andy, if you're missing the Thunder laser, I was never there.
I'm gonna move this like next week. It's gone.
You could have a camera above it now.
Just put a big ball of wrinkled up tinfoil back there.
Yeah, I thought about putting a wall. Like, depth is hard to tell here, but like putting some like a backdrop, like a wall right there. So
just put a green screen.
I tried the whole green screen thing, and then I didn't like it. And I was mad too, because I invested some decent money in like this whole setup.
Yeah, I've got one too. You don't see it on videos very often, like none in the last 2 years, really.
No, I thought it would be so cool.
It takes me back to when I spent most of my life on video calls, right? And it's like you see people with green screen backgrounds. And it's like, okay, you're annoying the crap out of me. So, and then I thought, well, you know, my logical conclusion for that was, well, I'll get my own green screen, but I never use it. It's actually rolled up in my workshop, and it comes down behind my workbench. But
he's doing the Matrix. We know why.
Yeah.
Waiting on Willow Tree to give a free laser away.
Is Willow Tree going to give a laser away? That's awesome.
It sounds like he's going to take my laser or my Thunder and give it away.
All right, Willow Tree, you heard that. Our subscribers want us to give a free laser away. If you're watching, hit us up.
Yeah.
I have a
this is why I approach a longer too, right? Because they're really trying to get some traction on the Nano, and it's a nice little laser. And so I had a conversation with them and said, hey, you know, we do a weekly live stream, and it helps us, and it can help you if we, you know, get together and do some kind of a giveaway.
So it looks like that they want to do it in November, December. They're still talking with the marketing team because that's their two,
Christmas promotions.
Yeah, it's the Christmas
Black Friday and there's two big names. I forget what it is.
So we're working on that one. I have to refresh with the Acmer guys too. I mean, I would love to give a P3 away, because that is by far my favorite diode laser right now.
All right, Johnny, including everyone who's in this live, we've been blessed to be able to bless others. I would say, Lord bless me so I can bless others in your name, right? So it's not like, we're so cool. People open doors for us. We're able to open doors for other people. If there's a laser you want that's beyond your means right now, but you want it and you'd like to see us give it away, go ahead and write the manufacturer's name and the model in the comments below. People, watch this, people. And if the manufacturers see a demand that you guys want to see it, maybe we can make that happen. But we can't make it happen if you don't speak up. Asking you shall receive. So you gotta ask. You gotta ask.
Yes.
You can't say, hey, I didn't get it if you didn't ask for it. So
Yeah.
do us a favor in the comments below. We're saying, hey, I'm a disabled veteran. Hey, I'm retired. You know, I can want all I want, but I'm working within my means. Understandable, 100%. But if you could have a free 99 and money was an object, what do you want? Put it in the comments below. Let us know.
I'll bring up the next one here.
Hey,
Where do I source materials? Well, believe it or not, like like if it's plywood, almost always a local hardware store. Home Depot, go in any Lowe's, go to any of these places. You'll learn which materials work well and which ones don't. For acrylic, I found a new supplier, local kind of, hush hush kind of supplier that sells acrylic really cheap. I'm sure it comes off the back of a truck. I don't know, but it works well and it's cheap. But there's lots of places that sell acrylic, and you'll probably even find places locally if you live in any kind of a reasonably sized city. There will be some supplier for acrylic.
I
Now,
would say
acrylic,
this.
of course, if you have a diode laser, you're only buying black. But
Right.
But yeah, I
would
don't.
say big box stores get a real big bad rep when it comes to wood, especially Home Depot, right?
Yeah.
And I would say it's not the store, it's the manager. Because like I live in Oswego, Illinois. I don't care if you know where I live because I tag in my videos all the time. So if you watch enough of my videos, you find out. But if I go to Home Depot in Oswego, man, it looks like, here's a piece of wood. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? They have even a leak in the roof, and the wood was full of mold. And I told them, you do know, like, mold gets in the wood, gets in a 2x4. If someone will put that in the house, it can spread. Like, whatever these, you got to throw this out, man. But then I go to North Aurora, and I seen this kid. He's like 17 years old, and he's pulling all this wood off, and he's turning the wood. And I'm like, what are you doing? Because he's got purple spray paint. And he's like, oh, every so many days, they make us flip the wood. And then we go through the wood, and if anything has a bow, we spray paint the ends purple, and we put it in the middle of this lane. I'm like, every so many days? He's like, yeah, at least once a week. And I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, can I meet your manager? What is he? A Marine. He didn't even have to tell me he was a Marine. So he started walking up to, I already knew. You know what I mean? He meet the MO right here. Like, I already know. So I introduced myself to him, said, hey, man, thank you for doing this. This makes a huge difference in building stuff, finding straight lumber. I don't have to keep doing this through half the pile. And I'm not that guy that just leaves the wood a wreck. If I go through it all, I put it all back, So in fact, I can just go in there and grab wood without spending 45 minutes. So what I'm trying to say in the long-winded response is, if you went to Home Depot and it sucks, Home Depot's like gas stations aren't every quarter. So check the next town over or the other direction, because you could have a good one, just one closest to you sucks.
Yeah, the only issue with hardware store plywood, especially 1/8" plywood or 3mm, is it has to be flat, and inevitably when you buy it from Home Depot, it's gonna kind of look like that. Just bring it home and lay it down I lay mine down on the floor and put a bunch of weight on it for a couple of weeks, and it straightens out. Steve
said, Nancy, why is the P3 your favorite?
Oh, that's a kind of a hard question to answer. It's a nice laser. Like, everything just works the way you would expect on that laser. Now I have the 48-watt one. They also have a dual diode, like blue diode IR version, and I think Clack has tried that one, and I see he's lurking in the shadows here.
Yeah, saw that there.
That one, it's lower power. I think it's only 10 watt. Clack can jump in if he's there. But if you have a 10-watt diode laser and an IR laser, 2-watt IR laser, you can do a lot of stuff, right? So, but I love the 48-watt laser.
So I see a lot of people.
I used it today for something.
Yeah. I see a lot of people putting in the comments, their wish list items. Keep them coming. Let us know what you want. So let's start seeing. They said, Eon Mir 9. An Acemer looks like the awesome laser.
That's just Clayton trying to convince me to give it away.
A girl can
that
dream,
was
right?
staying in my shop. Sorry.
Omtech 60-watt fiber and a Monport 60-watt.
I would love to have let you know how that laser is, but like I said, they got weird. They got weird, right?
Monport. They're watching. I know they're watching because they already talked to me last night.
Well, actually, no. Sorry. Before Omtech gets on my case, they were I think they were okay. There was somebody else. Monport. Omtech is okay. Good for Omtech. Monport has gotten weird with me lately. I've been talking to them literally since the beginning of April, and it's we'll send you one. It's next day, and then they kind of bailed and said, "Well,
I can
you can have this laser nobody else wants." It's like, what's the point in reviewing that on my channel? You're not going to sell any, and I'm not going to sell any for you.
I can have an Eon laser here tomorrow. But the problem with Eon is they want me to sign an all exclusive rights. I think it's 3 years. I can't do it.
Jeez, no.
The F1 Ultra is a nice laser. They did well there.
Clack says, "I'm soon to be retired." LEO. An Atlas 4x8, 150-watt bed CO2. He put in the LT. He says, "Old Capo 5.0."
He doesn't wish for much, does he?
Hey.
Well, you got
lasers. We didn't mention CNCs. We've never given away a CNC. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool. So what's your wish list on a CNC? Let's see that. Monport 55-watt disability. Don't want or need a big one. Just can't afford it. See? That's what I'm saying. 2 jobs saving for a 40-watt. There you go.
Well, the B1. The B1's a good laser.
Yep.
I use the hell out of it.
Yep.
Yes. I also take a signed Andy Bird laser.
Wow, talk about celebrity.
If I get a second one, Adam Stack 70-watt max. That thing, you got to be able to cut down trees with that thing. Just like,
they asked me about this one too, Adam Stack. And again, open frame. I wasn't that excited, but they have Adam Stack has an enclosed laser now.
Can someone tell me where to grease the Monport 60-watt laser? Grease.
Like a CO2 laser, I'm assuming, or a diode laser. Grease is probably not something you want to get near a laser.
Monport doesn't make diode lasers. They only have CO2s and
fibers. That's right. Yeah. Well, and there's nothing to grease on a fiber laser.
The only grease I can see is if you had like a
lift.
bed lift or something. Otherwise, there is no greasing. It's fixed.
Yeah. But if it's a CO2 laser, the rails.
10-watt blue, 2-watt IR.
Yeah, there you go. That's the
heavy.
That's the Acmer P3.
So look at this over and over again. You're starting to see something. Monport. So come on, Monport. Start playing nice in the sandbox.
Get it together, man.
This is what I'm saying. And I said this over and over again. There's the Monport K40 to me, because if you type K40, Monport's not the only one who makes it, right? There's a ton of them. But the Monport K40 is like a pre-modded K40, meaning everything you would have done to the K40 you bought, it's already done. So cool. It has the upgraded motherboard. The only thing you're definitely going to want to change is the gauges. 100%.
Oh, yeah, because they'll go to hell in about a week.
But the only thing I kept beating to Monport is like, dude, put air assist in it. Even if that just means you have to buy the pump separate, ran the damn hoses. And why are you like, come on, But I had no legit complaints. So the point is that that's a smaller workspace, but it works. So now the next level up, I think, is you're out of a hobby stage. You're really definitely in a business area. So people are going beyond that. Like, they're ready.
Yeah, like I said, anybody who's asking me about fiber lasers is saying, I need more power, right? I need 60 or 100 or 80 or something more. 20 watt. Like I've done well, 3 or 4 20-watt fiber lasers, and people who are just starting out go, yeah, that's cool. But people who are in business say, yeah, why are you wasting my time, right?
So Nancy, I think that's honestly why that Monport leans on influencers to make these videos, because what you have to understand is that the reasons these prices are also cheap is because you're not buying a rebranded U.S. brand. You're actually buying your factory direct from China, right? They're like shipping it in here. So sometimes the videos in that, they don't speak English. The reason they email you and talk to you is because you're using Google translators, but they can't make videos because they don't speak English.
Or the videos are just music.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice music, but
to answer the
70s porn, but yeah, sure. You know,
to answer the previous question that was up just before this about whether or not to buy a X-Tool D1 Pro, it's a good laser. Like I said, I have 2 of them. No complaints with them whatsoever. It's a good laser, and if that's what you're looking at, you can't really go wrong there.
Yeah, I like that laser. The only caution I would make is you have to look at what X-Tool is doing as a company, and you have to. I think it's reasonably safe to conclude that the D1 Pro is probably getting close to the end of life, because they're moving more into they're trying to push up market, right? And they want to go more into the commercial space, and I don't know whether the D1 Pro is going to be around a whole lot longer. It might be, but I just get a feeling that its days are numbered.
Well, it's been around quite a few years, because I've got one of the first ones.
Yeah, I had a D1. I had a couple of D1 Pros.
And you did X-Tool laser reviews as well, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the only one who hasn't done an X-Tool.
Yep.
Everybody else. CNCs for Thanksgiving. All right, Andy. Start your wish list. If you were to be able to give someone an entry-level laser.
An entry-level
CNC?
What would you think would... I'm sorry, an entry-level CNC. What do you think would be something good for someone to start with?
Steve and I talked about this last week.
Yep.
About
but now
CNC.
We're bringing up the giveaways, so we know people are watching us. So,
you know, I really struggle with this question, like this blanket question, because it really depends what someone wants to do.
Yeah.
You know,
it's the same answer to the laser question, right? When somebody says, what laser should I buy? It's the same. The answer is the same. What do you want to do?
In a way to say that like money wasn't really an object, right? So if you said like, you could start off with a badass CNC, and maybe it's even an over purchase because you weren't ready, but like, you know, what'd be something you wouldn't outgrow right away that you think like you're gonna have some long-term growth with the CNC? Maybe you bit off more than you chew. Maybe it's more than you need.
Well, I think you just swing for the fences. Then, if money wasn't an option and you're going to overbuy, go get a shop bot or something like that.
Sell your house, rent one of your kids out.
Is that the one that like change the tools automatically and all that jazz?
Yeah. So again, there's so many options here. I think you really can't go wrong with. It's the one I recommend all the time. A Shapeoko. I don't think you can go wrong with Onefinity. I don't think you can go wrong with Avid. I don't think you can go wrong with. I just lost it. But I think the major players anywhere in there, they're all roughly in the same ballpark with pricing. When you're just comparing features, you know.
Right.
But all those companies, it's not like you're taking a risk buying from one of those companies.
Wiltree said Avid 4x8, Shapeoko 5 Pro, and Infinity 4x4. Do you see more people going with a 4x4 versus a 4x8?
I don't see many. I mean, it's in the hobby space. I don't see many 4x8s.
It's the space requirement, right?
Yeah.
Like if your workshop is your garage, that 4x8 is your workshop, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
why these bench tops work so well. I mean, you just think about like what Onefinity and Shapeoko pack into a. Like I know they've gone to 4x4 now, but even think about their smaller sizes. You know, when they were for some reason, why were they doing 33 inches by 33 inches? That was like before they went to the 4x8. You're packing a ton of power into the corner of your garage, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
now,
Nancy,
if money if money is an object and you really are just starting out, some of the higher end Genmitsu laser or CNCs aren't bad because you can put you can put a trim router in them and you don't have to rely on those scrawny little spindles that they usually include.
Right,
Yeah,
but I would
they're
also
decent.
say
They're decent CNCs.
I would also say that probably one of the biggest factors is going to be that a lot of people are going to want 110, right?
110 voltage.
Yeah, right.
Well, it
Versus
doesn't
a
matter. They
220
all run. You can plug any of the almost all of those will run on either 110 or
Really?
220. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, one thing that's often overlooked that I will say is people, especially, I think it's a bigger deal in the CNC space, the CNC router space than laser space, but everybody overlooks software. And they look at machines and they're comparing specs on machines, but you use software just as much, if not more, than the machine itself. And it's the biggest pain point and learning curve. And so one word of caution is if you're going to buy, let's say, a budget level CNC, just put some forethought into software, because you can really make your experience miserable with some of the lower end. Like what software do you use with Jimitsu?
Well, I used my VCarve.
And I use Carveco.
Yeah,
Use
that's a
Carveco?
post processor for it.
There are post processors for both.
Mill Mage is also coming out. That's the Lightburn one. I've tried that with my Onefinity as well. It works okay. It's pretty limited, but it's early days. Like it can't do crazy tool paths like you can with Carveco or VCarve, but
yeah. So I guess for me to be more specific, like just make sure whatever software you're using has a post processor for the machine your control software, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe says sounds like a blank check is 5,000, and I've heard that basically a good entry level is 5 to 8.
Yeah, 5,000 will buy you the hardware. Well, Shapeoko comes with software, its own software, right?
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to get you're not gonna be running a full production shop, but if you $3,000 to $4,000, you can get a very, very capable setup.
Yeah.
Like entry, I would consider like not budget. That's not a budget option. That is like a solid low entry level. Maybe what's that? What's the smallest that Onefinity makes?
I think they have a 24 by. I think they used to call it the Woodworker, 24 by 32.
Okay. Yeah, something like that you could get into for $3,000, I'm sure.
No laser giveaway. We're wishful thinking.
Oh, you shouldn't have told V that. We could have kept her hanging on right to the very end.
and so we're speculating on future giveaways for lasers and CNCs.
Yeah, we can't give away something every week.
But we also are planning, and we do have up our sleeve. I'm not wearing sleeves today, but we do have planned another laser giveaway. We've gotten approved from the manufacturer, working out fine details. But there will be another laser giveaway, and hopefully a CNC soon, since everyone's watching this. But yeah,
for sure.
For CNC, I've been struggling with software. Went down the rabbit hole with Fusion 360. Currently looking at Vertec.
Yeah, so Fusion 360, if you have the paid version, it does allow you to do the cam stuff, but their cam model is so messed up. Like it's just so confusing. So typically, like I'll design stuff with Fusion 360 and I will export it as either an STL file or if it's a flat file, an SVG, and then I'll bring it into VCarve.
So look at this. We already have our subscribers change. They know that they're not eligible to win a giveaway without being subscribers to all of our channels. So she was
Right.
not subscribers to Andy, so she is now.
So angry.
V, is that an actual typo or?
Or are you insulting me? No.
She's like, I'm ready. I subscribed already.
Angry Bird builds, yeah.
So many people have said that, and I think I might do a April Fool's video where I just like smash things.
My Shipoko, this is from Clack. My Shipoko with the spindle is good. Dust collector was around 4K.
Nice. What size was what Shapeoko and what size did?
I think he has a 4x8, if I remember correctly. The Jimitsu 4030 with a 1010 got it for 2300.
That's
not bad.
Like I said, I like for entry level stuff. I like the Genmitsu one.
Onefinity had the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did have that machine.
Oh yeah, yep.
I wouldn't buy that one. If you're gonna buy a 16 by 16, you can buy a lot cheaper. Well, that was a happy accident fee.
The 3 out of 4 is like bite me now. Since we were saying they were subscribed to 3 of us out of 4, I don't think there was ever an admission of which one was.
Yeah, he didn't actually say which one he ignored.
No.
5 Pro.
Clack is in the house. Hey, Clack. Yeah, I join Clack's live every Sunday. Shoot the shit with them. Brain fart earlier. Oh, he said it's a 4x4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, the 5 is a nice Shapeoko. That's what I'd buy if I was going to buy one of those.
Apparently, V has the fart. She must have been eating a lot of beans.
She's got gas. No, she said farther before. It was another typo.
I remember the first time my wife farted in front of me, she just about cried. Right? She was so
the beauty of
I
autocorrect.
So hard, I was crying because I thought it was hilarious.
The beauty of autocorrect is now you can, anytime you make a mistake, you can just say, it was autocorrect.
Or blame it on the dog, one of the two.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to, because I want to build a chess set, and I'll do a set of videos on it. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen my rotary, Andy.
I haven't.
I did there's a YouTube short on my channel where you see it rise out of the table because it's on a power lift.
That's sweet.
I thought, why not go over the top?
Clayton said anything that's free, it's awesome. Free 99. Free 99 is nice. That's for sure. Everyone's talking about crap about the X car, but the best starter machine I had to put together. So learned a lot about machines side of CNC and how it works. 30 by 30 under $1,700.
I would like to check the transcripts because I think it's only Andy who said that X cars are crap.
Hey, I'll stick by my guns here. It's a good, maybe it's a scenario that we need to look at. Maybe maybe X-Carve is a good, so weird to say, a good budget option with CNC. I don't know what their low model goes for now, like their lowest entry level model. Look it up.
See, what X-Carve always reminded me of is like when you're converting a Volkswagen into a dune buggy. It's like you tear it all down and you put it back together in a different shape. That's kind of what X-Tool seems to be to me. It's just a big kit, right?
Yeah. So it looks like
Dennis said I have a DIY custom built 4x4 CNC and I use Shapeoko create software. It's free. Laugh out loud.
Yep. So looking at let's see, X-Carve.
Steve, the tool changer you're working on isn't in production yet.
So that's not my tool changer. That's from a company called Rapid Change. I've been talking to them, and they're actually gonna at some point they're going to send me an 8 tool, one of those. I have a 6 now, and I should have got an 8 when I got it, but they're going to send me another one, because since I've been kind of working with them on getting this running in a Onefinity Elite, which seems to be some real extra hard challenge, they've basically redesigned all of the kind of electronics and software to make it to change tools. It's a total, the rapid tool or rapid change tool changer is a real hack. But what's nice about it is if you've got like a $500 CNC, you can get a tool changer for it, which no other company is going to make for you, right? But for for a few $100 or $3, sorry,
you're putting it on your 2 tree.
You could. I'm not going to. For $300 or $400, you can get a tool changer, and that's about the price of most of the vacuum pumps for some of the bigger ones. So
how much was it? How much was a tool changer, Steve?
It's like $300, I think, for the 6-position one. Now,
that's not bad.
let me kind of footnote that, because the way this thing works is you basically have to have a spindle that you can reverse, so you can't use a trim router. So you have to have a reversible spindle, because what it has is a little like a clutch inside the holes where the tool bits are, and you put a tool bit in a collet and a collet nut, and you put it in that hole, and the spindle will come over and kind of wind it onto the end of the spindle, or turn it the other way to turn it off. It's a little unnerving the first time you hear it, because the clutch is designed to slip when the tension gets too high. So you hear this clack, 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 and but it works flawlessly every time. Like so. And my question, well, I had 2 questions when I was talking to them about it. How does it know that it's tightening the nut on enough? And you can actually fine tune that with their software. What is this? Because you're basically at 2,000 RPM, you're basically dropping the spindle into effectively something that's trying to stop it, right? But it turns on there in like a split second, so it works great. I don't know. It seems.
So you're gonna have to set up a camera in the shop to let us see it on one of these.
Yeah, videos. I will. I actually shot again. I think I shot a short that showed it a bit, but I'm waiting for them to send me another one, because they have changed all the electronics since I did mine. But it is nice because it's got this little folding lid that opens when it wants to change tools, and grabs the tool and then closes the lid again.
Nice.
So you don't get chips in there.
So Clack says the X-Carve equivalent to my machine was about $3,000 or more.
So I've been taking some time looking at. I'm not an X-Carve user or former user. I'm just observing and comparing. They do it. So the X-Carve, the basic like X-Carve is 29.5 by 29.5 inches. Work area $1,400. Doesn't come with. So here's the question. It's like, okay, let me use my own advice I gave myself. You're not just comparing. There's so much that goes into CNC other than just the machine. And everybody's like, oh, rigidity. Like, rigidity is important. All these things are important. Drives are important. But if you can't easily learn how to use the thing, then none of that matters. Like if you can't program it. And so like, I haven't heard good things about Easel. That's their software.
Yeah, I didn't like Easel.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about that. And that's cloud-based, right? I think it.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
Yep. And then they kind of restrict because they have Easel Pro, which I just looked, is like you can buy a license for 3 years for $600 for their Easel Pro software.
That sounds insanely expensive for what you get.
So would that CNC the Inventables? Is their CNC is only using their proprietary software. You can't use that's
Yes, there is some restriction. I think there's a way, or I think there is a way around it, but I think you are locked in to using easel.
It isn't just like a standard G code thing, and you can create a post processor on another tool.
Maybe someone watching. Is that true? I don't know. 100%. I'm gonna look it up, but
let us know. There's got to be people here. Someone said the software VCard Pro was more than just the machine. Yeah,
more than the machine. Yeah. It can be.
X-Carve 1000 by 1000, ran it for 4 years, no problems. Learned a lot from using easel. Great user group.
Yeah, that's one thing that gets kind of underestimated too, right? Is the community as well, right? Because there's the machine, the tool, the software tool, and the community. It's one of the things that I also credit Xtool for, right? They have a big community.
Yeah, the community can be almost stronger than the manufacturer themselves because you resolve the issues amongst each other. And the manufacturer.
Well, plus, if you need a design, somebody will provide one, right? There's always somebody out there, and Inventables has done that really well, I think.
Says Beam Me Up Laser Engraving said everyone defends their machines. They work hard to get even if they don't know it was limit even if they don't know it has limitations. At least we own the machines.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? So you could have a gaping feature hole and not care because it hasn't been a part of your use case.
Steve said, I think the interesting thing is like these the way these businesses, these machine manufacturers work is they're looking for their angle in the market, right? Like they're looking to plug holes and meet needs that aren't already met. We think from a consumer standpoint, we think about it. It's like versus like, Xtool versus Shapeoko versus Onefinity. It's really not that way. Like, especially if you're going to bump into people and bump into markets and try to control markets. But all these businesses are looking to appeal. It's not necessarily, it's expensive to appeal to the same customer base as your competitor in the same exact way, and so, X-Carve, they serve kind of the maker.
Call them the true makers, right?
Yeah.
The first principle makers.
Yep. So if you stay in your lane, there's not a lot of competition. It's when you start going the other lanes that it can be quite expensive.
Yeah, that was actually something that Shapeoko came to a quick realization when Onefinity just kind of appeared and said, "Hey, guess what? Your CNC is not as good as ours." Right? And that forced Shapeoko to improve, right? That's when they came out with the 5.
Yep.
So I mean, competition is good for the end user.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
But it can be a nightmare, as you're transitioning from one layer of technology to the next.
Steve has anyone used a laser on solid surface material? If so, how does it work? Primarily looking to use it for a company logo and name on the backside of a product. So are you just using it to brand?
Well, there again, it depends on what that solid surface material is.
Yeah. If it's a piece of iron, no.
If it's a piece of granite or rock, yeah, you can.
Yeah. So Steve, I guess elaborate on your question on what is the raw material that you're going to be engraving and choose to. LTX Design said, "Hey fellas, Andy, I got my Avid up and running today.
Nice.
Coming from a Onefinity, to do this beast of a machine is a huge upgrade."
Nice. I need to do a video and this isn't a knock on any machine at all, but I was blown away when I went from Shapeoko to Avid, and it's just a different, it's the same thing. I went from, didn't know any better, don't yell at me, but I went from a Glowforge to this Thunder laser. Imagine that difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Night and day.
Night and day. And I wouldn't say it was that extreme, but it is an extreme jump going from, let's call the Onefinity, Shapeoko, all these, even if they're higher hobby machines. Let's call them hobby machines. And then Avid is definitely a profession. When you're using it, it's definitely, you feel like a professional level machine. It's really interesting. So it's cool to hear other people say that. I guess I didn't do a good job. I should have documented that better, but like making that jump. But and I'm sure I would feel the same thing going from like an Avid to a Cam Master or ShopBot or one of those. I bet there would still be that jump, right? So
I said I didn't want it cloud based, so he got vCarve.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, if you've used a Glowforge, how did you feel about putting everything you own in the cloud, right?
Alex said, with tinfoil in your name, it must be a no. Tinfoil on the head,
Yeah, the tinfoil hat.
Willow Tree said, would you buy the spindle that Onefinity and Shapeoko offer, or is there a better one you all would recommend? Why is Roger not in Mexico?
Not till November.
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions to unpack there.
There is. Well, Onefinity doesn't offer a spindle.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they partnered with the CNC Pone guys, right?
Yeah, the Pone CNC. So that they're two separate companies.
Yes.
So that's the first thing. Shapeoko does sell their own VFD spindle. I think it's $750.
It's probably just a repackage of something that's out there, though, right?
Yeah. I'm sure.
Wan Yang or something.
What'd you call me?
Wan Yang.
But yes, to answer your question, yes. If it's in the budget, it is a worthwhile upgrade.
Definitely upgrading to a spindle is worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, it's not urgent, but it is something that.
Again, it depends what you're doing, right? Like I have jobs that'll run for hours, right? And at that point, a liquid cooled spindle is a great thing to have because spindles can get hot, not as hot as trim routers, but liquid. My spindle's liquid cooled. Makes a huge difference as far as operation goes.
Andy's runs on nitrous.
Yeah,
that's right.
Comes with some
downsides.
So another thought on that. We said this last week too, I think. But if you're running ball screws or as your drive, then you should go to it. Honestly, I see belts and trim routers matching up well, like belt drive and trim routers. Like that seems equivalent components.
It's that entry level mentality, right? At that point.
Yeah.
Tinfoil Timmy said, now that I have an understanding of how a CNC works, I will get a real machine that will work for the projects I do and save money in the long run.
Cool.
Yeah, and again, there's an old adage: if you have a CNC and it's not running, it's losing money. So if you're going to spend $10,000, make sure you have $10,000 worth of work.
Steve said he's looking to engrave Corian, and I don't know how to say the second one.
I've used a CO2 laser to engrave Corian.
What's Gibraltar?
Yeah,
it's a big rock.
Are you serious? Or are you joking? Is it a rock?
Yeah.
Well, Gibraltar's a big rock. Yeah.
What about the Straits of Gibraltar? Is that a place, right?
Yes.
So if it's rock,
Well, diode laser will etch with a lot of different kinds of stone. It just kind of depends what the stone is.
You could definitely
I haven't tried a diode laser with Corian though.
Should work.
You may have to play in the background that song, "Solid as a Rock."
I suspect though the color of Corian will be a factor. Like lighter colors probably won't work.
Steve, check MSDS on material like that. You want to use your laser. Some of it will put toxic fuse when laser engraving. Good call.
Yeah, certainly stone is stone. You get what you get.
Yeah,
But,
use stone. You better have one of these.
Corian
doing
is
fiber.
a kind of plastic, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
hard, but I don't think it has anything particularly bad. I see it was the Rock of Gibraltar.
Willow Tree says, when I get a CNC, might have to sign up for Andy
Andy
Bits.
Bits.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, people do get hung up on the hardware, both with lasers and CNCs. But a CNC has a couple of fundamental functions, right? Move a spindle in 3 or 4 different axes, and that's it, right? That's basically its job. Everything else is software.
And all it's doing, it's just reading letters and numbers to do that.
Yeah.
Willow Tree said he may or may have not ate an edible, causing typos.
I think you did that last week too.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to go with he is eating edibles.
Hey, while you're eating those edibles, go to andybirdbuilds.com and hit like quantity 10 on those bits.
And then you could give them away on the live.
There you go.
I probably have some affiliate codes that'll help you out too.
You got 9 to give away for great friends.
Yeah, I can create an X2O P2S affiliate code just for you.
We got these $99 lasers for sale for $9,000.
That's right.
Because they're signed. Because they're signed.
Right. They're rare these days. You can't even find one. I was actually looking earlier to see, and I'm not going to go there again, but I closed it. But I was looking for. So you go to Amazon and search laser engraver and sort by like cheapest price, and you have to sort through a bunch of things that have laser engraver tags on it, right? Like lenses and parts and all that. But you can get to like the bottom ones and see the cheapest ones on the internet. Well, on Amazon, but yeah.
There might be a reason that a $99 laser is rare.
Results.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Andy, I'm on it.
There you go.
As long as you don't dispute the charges, you're good to go.
There you go.
I'm thinking of trying to do some aluminum with my CNC. Got the right bits. What should I look out for? I'm crazy.
Chips everywhere.
Messy.
Yeah, so it is messy. You really should put oil on there when you're cutting it. But if you ever put wood on the same workspace, oil is not going to be good. So in that case, go really, really slow.
Yeah. Did your grandfather have this in the garage too?
I got that in my garage. What do you mean, my grandfather?
Yeah. I did that exact thing, and it ruined my wasteboard.
Yes. Well, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because the oil gets everywhere.
Yeah.
I actually have machine oil too, not just 3-in-1 oil. Like specifically designed for machining parts. But I've cut aluminum with mine, and it works okay. But you have to go slow.
Yeah. And clear, something that works is that you should do is clear the chips. Because you shouldn't use your dust collection.
No.
So that's off. So if you have some compressed air or something, that works as well.
A spray bottle of water in absence of oil will help.
Yeah. Steve, they said, what's the name of that ratcheting ATC system you mentioned earlier?
It's from a company called Rapid Change.
So is it readily available, or is it still in a
beta
state?
You can buy them. Yeah, you can get them off the shelf. They got I think 4, 6, or 8 tools.
All right.
And I've talked to the owner a couple of times, and he's a really good guy. Like he knows CNC stuff, man.
Willow Tree says, I'm Canadian. Many walks in the BC mountains picking mushrooms in my youth.
Yeah.
Were they magic mushrooms or?
Well, that's the kind that grow in BC. Yes.
Yeah.
What's the best place to buy files for laser engraving and cutting?
Dare I say Etsy, but
yeah, well, Etsy, design bundles. We buy a lot of stuff from design bundles.
Yeah. There are companies that'll sell you like 25,000 designs and for $50 or whatever. You can check into them. You know, if you hang out on Instagram long enough, eventually you'll get hit with an ad for them.
Yeah.
I would also say it's not a bad deal to join these Facebook groups, because a lot of people will share. Like, if you're that's badass, they'll actually, look, you want the file? Surprisingly enough, people are pretty sharing. You know, they're in Montana and you're in California. They're probably not really worried about you stepping on their toes. So I see a lot of sharing, which is, I'm surprised. I thought people would be a little more keep things to their chest.
Yeah, I will lobby to say start to learn to design your own stuff too.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. I can do it. Jeez, so it can't be that bad.
Yeah, but you know, when you're first starting off, you may just want to concentrate on one thing, like learning.
I get it. but you know, start from baby steps, right? Make a square, right? And you know, work your way up to Fusion 360 if you're doing 3D stuff.
Catherine says, can you suggest an inline fan for my X-Tool F1? Just had to buy a new filter and they aren't cheap. Isn't that just a desktop?
You must have a fume extractor. You can buy like a 4-inch inline fan and just get dryer vent.
That's just a desktop fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, you need an actual inline fan.
Yeah, measure it in millimeters and then go on Amazon, type 44 millimeter fan, whatever.
Well, no, they actually sell them as 4-inch fans.
Yeah, I'm just saying whatever it is. I was just making it.
And then go to Home Depot or your local hardware store and get some dryer vent and
they're pretty common on Amazon. I bought a couple of them.
Yeah.
I use a mirror too, and one brand name I buy is Vivor. They're actually made for hydroponics, but they work just perfect.
Yep, that's what my 6-inch exhaust is. It's a hydroponic system. Super quiet.
Yeah, do you have all kinds of interesting UV lights in your basement too?
Nah.
Yep.
Just those.
There you go. There's one. No plant under it though.
Yeah, just enough to put the Ninja Turtle on YouTube. Andy, I've been back and forth on spoil board options. I'm torn between building a vacuum table or with dog holes and Craig clamps. I definitely want to use tracks. Which way should I go?
So what are you going to be doing a lot of? If you're going to be using a lot of big sheet goods, then probably, something like a vacuum table will work well. If it's smaller stuff, the only thing I don't like about using like Craig clamps is if I'm picturing the right ones, they stick up. And you don't always know where your CNC is going to rapid move. And you can snap bits pretty quickly.
Yeah. If you think it's bad with a bit, put a chuck in the middle.
So those are the options. I guess it depends on really the size of things that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, I just made my own spoil board in part because I have a thing in the middle of it for my 4th axis, my chuck to come out. But I just drilled a bunch of holes, every 50 millimeters in each direction, and then cut out a couple of holders, like cams and some squares, like some L brackets and stuff. And
one thing I didn't think about is there's probably a shortage for lube lately. We've all seen it in the news.
Shortage of
lube. Everyone's asking about oil, right?
I mean, I don't know.
It's a big thing going on in the United States right now. I mean, you can't turn on TV, YouTube, or any kind of social media about hearing jokes about baby oil right now.
Really?
I thought it was all about cats and dogs getting eaten.
Yeah. What is your what's the algorithm serving you?
Puff Daddy. They raided his house.
Oh yes, yeah. They found like 15,000 cases of baby oil or something.
Okay, yeah.
So there's all these memes now with baby oil. It's like every kind of lube you can imagine. It's like the new memes.
There you go, Diddy.
Yeah.
The internet moves so fast. It's crazy.
You sound like an old guy. You sound like you're like me.
I know, right? Oh, geez.
Yeah, creative fabric is nice.
I was going to say, back to the wasteboard, something that I just thought of is one of the best wasteboard setups I've ever seen is Bro in Wood. I did a video. He's a friend of mine, lives about an hour away. So go to YouTube and look up Bro in Wood. It's Brothers in Wood.
Whoa. It's not what I think it is it?
I know, right? Or you can just say
Okay.
Bro in Wood.
Because we only have one OnlyFans here, is the Silver Fox. You know?
Sorry, I don't want any competition.
Okay, bro, keep going.
But he uses dog holes with PVC pipe, like 1/2-inch PVC pipe.
I use 3/4, but yeah, same stuff.
Maybe he uses 3/4. And then Steve, maybe you do this too, but he puts it on like three sides, I think, maybe 2 sides. But anyways, he has these what do you call them? These angled boards. What do you call those things? I don't know. Wedges.
A wedge? A wedge?
Yeah, wedge. I was like angled boards.
Yeah.
Wedges, and he drives them in between his workpiece and the PVC, and it works great.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I use like I have cams, so you can just turn a cam tight, but I'll usually put a wedge in between it because cams almost never reach the material the way you want. So you can go out to the next row of holes and put just a bigger wedge in and tighten it down. I do that kind of thing.
I'm gonna do that on my wasteboard here.
I was gonna look and see if I had a picture of my wasteboard. I don't think I do, but
the Craig clamps I want to use are Kibic. I don't know how to say that. What is it?
Inline clamps.
Yeah, they're
all plastic. Yeah.
So if they're soft plastic, you'd hope to bust the clamp.
Yeah, it would go through the clamp.
Right.
Yeah.
Save the bit.
Oh,
Roger, really looking colorful in your shirts you're wearing.
Yeah, I got quite the wardrobe of these.
He has
paints
another
them all
admirer.
Hand painted.
Alex said, "No Diddy, no."
No Diddy, no doubt.
I think Rick ate edibles. Nah, I had 2 beers, but that's it. Long day. Tuesdays for me is like back-to-back team meets. It's like, oh God, I didn't even get a lunch today. I told my buddies I need to buy some mineral oil, and they all roasted me.
There you go, bro.
That's not by the gallon. What's the big deal?
you got to get the secrets from Steve. That's why I use these wedges. That's cool.
Yeah, and the beauty of making wedges and your own wooden cams and stuff is if you hit the thing with a tool, first of all, it's not going to break the tool, but it's also a inconsequential loss, right? You can just make another one.
Yeah,
so I have a whole box full of cams and
been hanging out, listening, and working at least to say hello. Thank you for saying hello. That's the point of live.
Hey,
sometimes it's happy.
I was kind of hoping Corby was going to be on. He asked me. He left a comment in a video, and I'm surprised nobody's commented. I have Godzilla in the back here. He was waiting for Godzilla looking in my fake window in the back. So I went out and purposely found one just for Corby, but he's not here tonight.
Steve, is that your green screen?
No.
I know.
That's what I look like on a green screen.
If I use upcut, will I use tape or CA glue?
Don't you use both? Upcut doesn't really matter one way or the other.
Yeah, tape and CA glue, I do that all the time on small things.
Yeah. Well, I've done it on big things too, but it takes a lot of CA glue and a lot of tape, so you're better to clamp it if you can. But I have hit those clamps, especially that stick up with the knob that you run in a T channel. I've hit those things with a CNC, and it's not pretty.
Alex Nolsmith says, I got an XYZ probe, and I'm looking at how to incorporate it into a CNC.
Do you have a 0 probe input on your controller?
Good question. CNC spoil board. You guys are awesome. Learned a lot over the years watching you. Thank you for your dedication, time, tips, and a great night. Thank you, Tinfoil Tim.
I wish my wife would say I'm awesome.
my wife tells me this.
She just says I'm lazy.
She wants from Portillo. She orders on the app, and she says, your credit card's been declined. I said, there's absolutely no way. So I give her another one. It's been declined. I said, there's something wrong with that. So I get all her Portillos. I'm on the phone with her, and I said, what do you want? So the lady can hear. She orders it, and I get back, and she says, you didn't order my shake. I said, you didn't say you wanted a shake. Well, I told you at the house. When I called you on the phone, I said, what do you want? So, yeah. What are you going to do? She's all mad.
It's almost time we have another guest on, isn't it? We should have a guest. Not tonight,
next week,
but maybe next time.
Got to echo what Timothy said. Really appreciate what you guys are doing for the community. Yeah, I started saying earlier is that the whole point of this live is that we don't have any scripted, like, this is what we're going to talk about. The live question and answers, the collaborative amount of knowledge we have in one room at one time. You really should be able to have any answer on any topic. Answered. Question answered.
Everything from lasers to OnlyFans, right? Like
exactly.
Cover it all.
Owning a business, being an entrepreneur, marketing, YouTubing, CNC, 3D printers. I think we got it covered. Maybe a little fatherly advice.
No, I don't have fatherly advice.
Oh, get the occasional dad joke.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Is there such a thing as granddad jokes? Because I'll be getting
oh
those.
Man, these going the low blows. Super motivated.
No, for me.
Motivated now. I said super motivated now, and Rick gonna sub you now. Oh, okay, there it is.
There it is.
The only one who wasn't subbed. Damn. Okay, well, at least I'm feeling the love now. That's all I have to say. So.
See, I was gonna say
go buy her a shake. I didn't have time. I had to be in the live. That's why I literally joined like 5 minutes before the live started because she actually left me with the kids.
We should get Marilyn on. Marilyn, why don't you come and join us sometime?
Yeah, she's a YouTuber, right?
Yep.
All right,
watched
Marilyn.
A few of her videos.
Marilyn, are you interested in joining our live?
Not tonight.
No Diddy jokes. No diggity, no doubt. Oh, that is definitely something crazy. That's all I can say.
Talk about a fall from grace, right? Like, wow.
Right? Jeez.
Yeah. All I say is that when you go to prison, there's all different walks of life, right? And all people did all different types of crime. And no matter what you did, except for one thing, everyone kind of gets along. But if you did that one thing, it ain't a good time for you in there. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he better have a private cell. And definitely don't bend down to pick up the soap.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody has a mother or a sister or someone at home. I would not be able to keep up with you guys now. I'm more of a crafter.
See, this isn't a bad thing. Being a crafter is a good thing.
Yeah, but what you have to understand too is that not everyone wants to be a business. At the same time too, I even say like that's too crafty for me. I go to these craft shows sometimes just to look, and I see like this crazy ornamental that they think that this Christmas ornament, and I'm like, that is so badass. But I just don't have the time to do that. I couldn't paint that. Like it looks, I'll just pay you the money. Like if I want to hang it on my Christmas tree, I know I'm capable and I have what at home to do it, but like, I can't. I don't have that in me, So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I've said numerous times on my channel that I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I envy people who do have that. And I like talking to those people. So, if you're a crafter, Marilyn, you're certainly welcome. I'm happy to have a conversation with you.
Yeah. So
and Kathleen points out the obvious here. The crafter's perspective. And that's kind of what we're looking for, right?
Yeah. And we're not above anyone. What do they say? Never look down on anyone unless you're picking them up.
Hey, that's profound. I haven't heard that one before.
No.
No, never heard that. Yeah, never look down on anyone unless you're picking them up.
I think I need to make a T-shirt now instead of one that says "Sorry, I'm late. I didn't want to come." It's an old work shirt.
I need that shirt for when I go visit my in-laws.
There are certain places where it's really appropriate.
Kids asked me what I want to be called, and they have kids. I said, Grandpa. I started thinking they better not asking Grandpa what is better not be asking because what's coming soon. They are 23 and 26. My son's a Canadian player. Nice. Yeah, they got a lot of beaver in Canada. Steve
Wow.
turning red.
We have a lot of loons too, but
yeah. I remember when I went to grade school in Canada, there was this kid. He pulls out of his pockets 4 little paws, and I'm like, "What is that?" Oh, my dad caught beaver, and he cut the paws off, and he had them in his pockets. I went home and said, "Mom, why are Canadian kids weird?"
Okay, I know of no Canadian kid or any other kid on the planet who would do something like that. So that kid was weird. I don't think it mattered where it came from.
Where he was at, yeah.
Yeah, never look down on anyone unless you're picking them up. Thanks for that. Gonna end that note. Thanks a bunch, guys. Yeah.
Wow, we're almost done. Wow.
We got 4 minutes left in the live, guys, or ladies and gentlemen. So
Yep.
any questions left, let us know. Appreciate all the people who were saying that they were subscribers to one of us and not to the other, even if it was not the week of our giveaway, preparing or just showing support.
Yeah, you might as well get ready.
Yeah, because it's coming for sure.
And if anybody wants to volunteer and help me clean this place up, this place is a mess.
Yeah, and I did a recent redesign of our thumbnail. I will think you guys will like it. So it's I jazzed it up a bit. So looks a little better. Yeah. So I'll
And
send you that. And you guys
hopefully
may see that.
Corby watches this on the replay so he can see Godzilla. I did it just for him.
Good evening, gentlemen, in chat.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. I voted for Maryland.
There you go. You got support, Marilyn.
There you go, Maryland.
I hardly ever bite.
Wrong channel, Steve. Wrong channel.
oh, sorry. Let me go back to this screen. Oh, geez.
Oh, they got it wrong. He said live stream, so it's Shop Talk Live, and I can share it this time because we're not doing a competition. And last time I did this, I won the competition like 3 times.
Oh, here's your moment in the sun, Rick.
What is it?
There's a question here. There.
Rick, what is the best way to clean stainless steel and brass alcohol?
There's no way to appreciate that unless we see a coin, right?
You know I got it in my back pocket.
I know you do.
Oh, yeah, we all know that.
So look, if you've already engraved it, and like you're carrying around like me, and you let 1 million people touch it, they sell these cloths. One side's pink, one side's white for like gold chains. They're cheap. They're super cheap. One's like it has like a chemical on it. One's like a buffing, and one's like a polish. I don't know if you guys ever seen it.
Who wears gold chains? That's like, do you go to gangster stores to shop for this stuff?
My family's Italian and Mexican. We all wear gold chains, right? Except the Italians are this short. That's all. They're a little thicker and a little shorter. Mexican, a little longer.
It's Chicago. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so if it's already been polished and you just want to touch it up or keep it polished, I would suggest that you buy one of those gold cloth cleaners. It's insane. Like it doesn't look dirty, and you rub the white side, it'll turn it like gray. But then when you rub it on the pink side, it'll be like brand spanking new. Like you can do any kind of gold jewelry as well.
Wow.
I would suggest doing that. But if you're talking about right off the engraver, you join too late.
They look rough. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll wonder why you spent $8,000 on a laser.
yeah, it's definitely some elbow grease. People definitely are misleading when they show you a coin and they're like, it looks like this, when they don't realize that there's a lot of work to make it look like that.
Ooh. Why don't you
know.
just get a tumbler and tumble them in silica sand?
I don't know. I think I kind of enjoyed it. Yeah.
Are
Kind of
you
enjoyed
last week you talked about a polishing pass?
Yes,
You said you can save some time doing that.
100%. That's the biggest difference between like the U.S. Marine coin. If you've ever seen it, I did that on the 30 watt, but this local 9, the IBW coin, I did on the 60 watt. So I'm not saying that it's going to look better. I'm just saying it's going to save you time, because you can do two different type of passes that are after your engraving passes that are kind of like a fine sanding, right? That's going to make less elbow grease. So just because a 30 watt to a 60 watt doesn't mean it's going to cut it twice as fast, but it may make your elbow grease twice as fast, the after the fact. So, well, guys, it looks like we hit our time. We're at 8:31. I just want to thank everyone for joining our live. Appreciate everyone's comments. Appreciate everyone showing some support and subscribing, those who are already not. Be ready for an upcoming another laser giveaway. And for those manufacturers who are watching their CNCs or lasers, contact us if you want us to feature any of your products, or you would like to be able to give one of your products away to one of our subscribers. You guys want to say anything on the close out?
No, thanks for everybody for being here.
Yeah,
it was
see
great.
everybody next week.
Hopefully, yes, and more. Start
Yeah.
drumming up business for our nano draw. If we can get that going. We want 500 people on the stream.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For that.
All right. Thank you, everyone. God bless. Thanks for coming and joining us. See
Take
you
care
next
all.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.